Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
SLT Mobitel Fiber. Deshi Fiber Balavegya.
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Mariam Vijayaratna. Let's have a look at the headlines first. The iconic high-rise residential and commercial shopping complex Altair building commissioned. The response from the private sector for the e-survey to identify worker demand requirements is not satisfactory, Labour Department announces. News in detail. The first phase of the Altair Mixed Development Project, which is in Colombo, opened last Wednesday. Speaking at the soft opening, Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, said that the Altair building will play a symbolic role in between the relations of India and Sri Lanka.
The second thing this project is a testament to is what India and Sri Lanka can do together. And this is no mean achievement. I'm told that this is perhaps the first structure of its type, not only in this part of the world, but anywhere. With this much 13 degree of leaning against gravity, I think, something like that. Sri Lanka's welcome to the investors, India's commitment to come with resources, with multiple possibilities. I am happy to note that on one hand, whereas India's commitment has made houses for the people who were to be rehabilitated, India's commitment and resources have also built these houses, which are upmarket, which are iconic, and which are not only going to be symbol of a proud Colombo, Your Worship, but a proud Sri Lanka. And nothing gives me greater pleasure than, as High Commissioner of India, than to be standing here and to be with you and to be part of this journey for this tower, for this building may be culminating today or shortly, but this journey of India and Sri Lanka coming together, not only to build the houses for the rehabilitation people, but also buildings of this type, and a few were mentioned, not only this, but down the Gaul Road. I think that journey is ongoing.
State Minister for Urban Development Dr. Nalaka Godahewa said that the economic development should be ensured only after making sure of the infrastructure facilities. State Minister Godahewa made these observations speaking at the soft launching of the Altair building, which has 407 luxury apartments of 4 types within 68 floors.
I'm extremely happy to be here today to participate at this ceremonial opening of the Altair Towers, a beautiful structure, an architectural masterpiece. So I think this structure, the project that you have delivered, has made us proud. So I thank all of them, all of you who are involved in making this happen. My memory go back to almost 10 years back, 2010-2014 period. We had just come out of a 30-year-long war. His Excellency, until 2009, for almost 30 years, the country's infrastructure development had got stagnant because of the war situation. Our total focus was completing this long-standing war and bringing peace to the country. And our current Prime Minister, our former President, His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, made it happen. And the war ended in 2009. And thereafter, in 2010, His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa got re-elected. And then the whole focus shifted to the development of the country. We had achieved peace, then we wanted development. And in that development process, one of the key areas where he focused was infrastructure development. He realized if you want to bring economic prosperity, the infrastructure must be in place.
State Minister for Urban Development Dr. Nalaka Godaheva also reminded how the country was driven for the development after the end of 30-year-long civil war. State Minister Godaheva further said that in 2014, Sri Lanka was ranked as the fastest growing city in the Asian region.
So we started building ports, we started building airports, we started building highways, we started developing the cities. In that process, he assigned a very important role to our former Defence Secretary, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who is our current president. He was appointed, in addition to his responsibility of being the Defence Secretary, as the Secretary to Urban Development Ministry, where the President himself was the ministry in charge. So together, during the next 4 years, they changed the entire landscape of Colombo and many other cities in this country. Things started happening, things started moving, developments started coming, investors started coming. So much so, by 2014, we were rated the fastest growing city in whole of Asia, something that we were very proud of at that time. During that time, a lot of investors came to the country, and they found it very easy to work with the government, because government welcomed them, gave quick approvals, provided all the support to start the project. So most of the buildings, large structures that you see, completed as well as being completed around, were started during that period. And Altair project also started during the same period.
We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
අන්තර්ජාලය ෆයිබර් සමගින් බලකැන්වෙන තැන ඉස්සර වගේ නෙවෙයි දැන්. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රථම වේගවත්ම සහ පුළුල්ම ප්‍රීමියම් ෆයිබර් අන්තර්ජාලය SLT Mobitel Fiber. දේශීය ෆයිබර් බලවේගය.
Welcome back after the break. The Department of Labour said it was disappointed with the response received from the private sector for the e-survey to identify worker demand requirements in 2022. Labour Department Commissioner General Prabha Chandrakirti said that the response received from the private sector companies was very poor and disappointing. The objective of the initiative was to re-strengthen the economy severely affected by the COVID pandemic by increasing the productivity of the private sector. Despite extending the deadline for submission of the e-survey twice, last being on 31st August, he said less than 1,000 companies responded. At present, there are over 86,000 companies employing 2.6 million under the Department of Labour. Labour Department Commissioner General Chandrakirti said the data collected through the survey was also to understand the labour demand in the private sector to meet their expected targets for the next year. In spite of the poor response, the Labour Ministry sources reveal that the department has commenced evaluating the data submitted by the companies, which will be helpful to assist the policymakers to take appropriate and sustainable decisions regarding employment within the evolving labour market conditions. Chandrakirti also said the evaluation of data will assist in making sector-specific strategies to stimulate, protect and promote private sector employment in the country. According to the Labour Department, the economically active population in Sri Lanka was at 8.6 million, with 64.5 males and 35.5 females. The private sector employs almost 3.5 million people, whilst own account workers amount to 2.7 million. Non-agricultural sector employees 81.3% of the private sector employees and 57.3% of its own account workers. The Department of Labour has assured the confidentiality of data submitted by the private sector. SJB parliamentarian Patali Champika Ranawaka alleges that the government's decision to ban importation of seeds and fertilizer with chemicals has directly affected on the Sri Lankan brands such as Ceylon tea and Ceylon cinnamon. Speaking to the journalists in Colombo, former minister charged the authorities have no least desire or interest to listen to the experts in the field.
මේ රටට ඩොලර් මිලියන 1300ක් පමණ උපයා දීපු තේපොල් රබර් කුරුඳු වැනි අපේ අපනයන භෝගවලට බරපතල අභියෝගයක් එල්ල වෙලා තියෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම අපේ තේ වෙළඳාම සිලොන් ටී නාමය හා සිලොන් සිනමන් නාමය සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම බිඳ වැටිලා අපේ තරගකරුවන්ට ඒ ස්ථානය හිමි වෙන්න යනවා. මොකද්ද මේකට හේතුව? මේකට හේතුව පසුගිය මාර්තු මාසයේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා ගත්ත තීරණයක් අනුව පසුගිය මැයි මාසේ 6 වෙනිදා නිකුත් කරන ලද ගැසට් නිවේදනයකින් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවට පොහොර ගෙන්වීම, රසායන ද්‍රව්‍ය ගෙන්වීම හා බීජ ගෙන්වීම තහනම් කිරීම නිසා ඇතිවෙච්ච තත්ත්වයක්. මේ ගැන මේ රටේ විද්‍යාඥයෝ, කෘෂි විද්‍යාඥයෝ, ගොවියෝ, ගොවි සංවිධාන මේ පිළිබඳ සාමාන්‍ය දැනුමක් තියෙන බොහෝ දෙනෙක් කරුණු කිව්වා. කාබනික ගොවිතැන හොඳ දෙයක්. නමුත් කාබනික ගොවිතැන කරන්න අවශ්‍ය කරන අමුද්‍රව්‍ය, ඒ වගේම ඒ කාබනික ද්‍රව්‍යවල මිල ගණන් මේ සියල්ලම සාමාන්‍ය ජනතාවට උරුතු දෙන්නේ නැති බව, 100% කාබනික ගොවිතැන කරපු රටක් ලෝකේ නැති බව අපි බොහොම පැහැදිලිව කිව්වා. ඒ වගේම සිලොන් ටී නාමයේ බිඳ වැටුණොත්, සිලොන් සිනමන් නාමයේ බිඳ වැටුණොත් අපේ අපනයන ආදායම් සියවස් ගාණක් තිස්සේ මේ රටට ලැබිච්ච අපට නැති වෙන බව අපි බොහොම පැහැදිලිව කිව්වා.
Government of Japan presented 150 motorcycles to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat office yesterday, and those will be used by Sri Lanka police for the country's counter-terrorism efforts in the wake of the East Sunday terror attacks in 2019. With that, let's look at a few more stories for the day in brief. The government of Japan has provided a total sum of $625,698 to the Hollow Trust for humanitarian demining activities in northern Sri Lanka. The grant contract was signed on 28 October 2021 at the ambassador's residence in Colombo between Ambassador of Japan Sugiyama Akira and the head of region of the Hollow Trust Belinda Vows. The Hollow Trust, one of the world's largest and oldest humanitarian demining NGOs, has cleared more than 36.8 square kilometers of contaminated land in the country since 2002. Education Minister Dinesh Gunawardena stated that the supreme examinations for venerable monks should be brought to international standards. The minister said this after participating in an observation tour of the Sri Lanka Buddhist and Pali University in Pitipana Homagama. The minister stated that the education system of Buddhist monks should be developed and measures should be taken to receive international recognition for the examinations reserved for the Buddhist monks. Brandix launched Randaru Abises, a scholarship scheme to support high-performing students qualified for university education across Sri Lanka. The initiative is designed to enable students selected to state universities to continue their higher education without hindrance, thereby strengthening the future learned workforce of the country. An event marking the symbolic launch of the program took place under the patronage of Education Minister Dinesh Gunawardena recently. We'll be right back with the stock updates.
SLT Mobitel Home Broadband within online learning සහ online working සඳහා ඇදහිය නොහැකි data දීමනා GB 30ක් රුපියල් 195යි GB 100ක් රුපියල් 490යි කාර්යාලයක් පාසලක් ගෙදරටම ගෙනෙන ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රමුඛතම ඉන්ටර්නෙට් සබඳතාවය SLT Mobitel එකම එක සබැදියාව.
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 25.08 points to close at 10,162.93 and the S&P SL20 gained 24.29 points to close at 3,711.85. The turnover was 4.9 billion rupees and over 121 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. That's all we have for today. Have a great weekend. Good night.